Good morning, everybody. We are beginning with a song written by a friend to CSL, Eileen Angel. I'm Garry Novikoff, by the way. Here we go. Everybody's searching for a hero, someone to rescue us and save the day. Too afraid to gaze into the mirror, reluctant Superman to lead the way. Looking on the outside for what's inside, it's a shock and a surprise. It's the last thing we suspected, but it's time we realize we are the ones, we are the ones, we are the ones that we've been waiting for. We are the ones, we are the ones, we are the ones that we've been waiting for. Standing on the edge of our tomorrow, yesterday is over and it's getting late. We're not the owners here, we borrow. We can't pretend we don't know give from take. In the madness and the fury, in the rising and the fall, we're the saviors and the cure we seem to run from most of all. We are the ones, we are the ones, we are the ones that we've been waiting for. We are the ones, we are the ones, we are the ones that we've been waiting for. And don't you think it's time that we made love the bottom line? We're the only ones who can. We are the ones, we are the ones, we are the ones that we've been waiting for. We are the ones, we are the ones, we are the ones that we've been waiting for. We are the ones, we are the ones, we are the ones that we've been waiting for. We are the ones, we are the ones, we are the ones that we've been waiting for. We are the ones, we are the ones, we are the ones that we've been waiting for. We are the ones, we are the ones, we are the ones that we've been waiting for. Standing on the edge of our tomorrow, yesterday is over and it's getting late. We're not the owners here, we borrow. We can't pretend we don't know give from take. In the madness and the fury, in the rising and the fall, we're the saviors and the cure we seem to run from most of all. We are the ones, we are the ones, we are the ones that we've been waiting for. We are the ones, we are the ones, we are the ones that we've been waiting for. And don't you think it's time that we made love the bottom line? We're the only ones who can. We are the ones, we are the ones, we are the ones that we've been waiting for. We are the ones, we are the ones, we are the ones that we've been waiting for. We are the ones, we are the ones, we are the ones that we've been waiting for. We are the ones, we are the ones, we are the ones that we've been waiting for.
Good morning, everyone. How wonderful to have Garry Novikoff back with us doing the music today. Garry comes all the way from Rockland County and hasn't visited with us since the beginning of the year. So welcome to Center for Spiritual Living Morristown live stream on Facebook and on YouTube. If you are visiting with us, excuse me, if you are visiting with us, let us know that you're here and say hello and use the bubbles and let us know if you have any questions or any topics you'd like us to talk about. We will check it and say hello back when we can. And today the topic is In It Together. It fits in the theme for this month, which is inclusion in action, and the theme for the year, which is 2020 Vision. We are very blessed to have another special guest with us that I will introduce you in a moment. So what I'm going to talk about today is this idea that infinite possibility is always at hand, even in the greatest crises. And so it depends, though, on whether we live in the awareness of the oneness of all life, or we live and believe in separation. So it behooves us to become aware of that and to be conscious. And we're always called to live the truth in greater yet greater ways. That which we've learned, that which we've learning, and that which we've yet to learn is always part of our process. My name is Frankie. I'm the spiritual director here at Center for Spiritual Living Morristown. And if you want to know more about us, because I know some of you are from all over the world, so I want to add good afternoon, good evening, or maybe you watch a rebroadcast, is we would love for you to go to our website, check it out. It has lots of good information. It even talks about some of the events that we're having, which I will mention later. And if you like to give, because you love to support the good work we're doing in the world, there is a place on the website that says give, and you can give in many different ways. So our special guest today is a student who took to this teaching like a fish took to water. She dove deep, very deep. And she is just beautiful inside and out. So she's going to share some poetry with you today. Lori Carlson.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Lori Carlson, and as Reverend Frankie said, I am a student here at the Center for Spiritual Living Morristown. I'm going to share a poem with you this morning that I wrote as the final project for the last class I took, which was called Self-Mastery, taught by Gail Belluardo, one of the licensed practitioners here in Morristown. It's a little long, I apologize, but it's about my true self in the areas where I use self-mastery in my life. My true self often begins to express and encourages me to be my best and live the truths that I believe, tossing aside any doubts meant to deceive me into feeling separate from my source, the Almighty Creator, that intelligent force of love, of life, of all that exists. It's the unity we so often resist with thoughts of comparison or not enough. Accepting our oneness can often seem tough, but it's the joy in this knowing that keeps all creativity and good flowing to us and through us. And so I found that accepting this oneness is the solid ground that allows my true self to have a voice and recognize that I've always got that choice. And while it's not always loud nor always clear, those times that it is, I hold very dear. As I surrender to the process by just letting go of all that I think that I already know, and listen instead to the voice inside that comes not from ego, but from a purer vibe of intuition, demonstration, alignment with the law, whatever you call it. In this place, there's no flaw. I've used it and heard it at various times, like when opening myself to the rhythm of these rhymes, or when writing affirmations that touch others too, or when speaking with sponsees and some wisdom comes through from a divine source way greater than me. As long as I channel it and then let it be, not claiming the credit, just expressing the light that beams from me to others, often so bright that I know it comes from beyond ego, from a place beyond my small self, but from that oneness of grace. Because as my true self, I know this truth well, that as a mere channel, I can ring the highest bell, and trust in this energy expressing through me when I allow the best, the God in me, to be set free. And from this place, I know I rest and dream, even though sleeping may not be what it seems, but my true self allows me to reframe my night and to meditate, trust in God, and not to fight against sleeplessness with worry and despair, but instead to use the time to implement self-care and to know that it'll all be okay in the end, as with faith and assurance my treatments I send. So my true self is rested, demonstrating my belief that true faith in our wholeness is the only relief. So as I approach yet another year older, I know for myself I am young and get bolder with my physical self, stronger than ever before. My belief this is true comes from deep in my core, because my true self is ageless. So as I bike and plank, I know there is only God and my true self to thank for all the blessings, the joy, the enthusiasm, the love that lives inside my true self, not somewhere up above. And so I rest and rejoice in this deep knowing that allows my spirit and true self to keep growing in gratitude and grace for all I've become and for this beautiful journey that I've only just begun.
See, beautiful inside out with her beautiful poetry. So the message today is an important message. And it's a deeper message, I trust and hope. Because we're living in this time of crisis. And in it, because it's been going on for a while, we're finding a new normal. Maybe it's not normal, but a new way to be in the world. And so this COVID-19 crisis is only one of so many. Right now, I have colleagues and friends in the California northern coast who are leaving their homes and evacuating because their fires are burning hard. Our mother seems to be on fire. We're dealing with issues of racism and violence and hatred and divided politics. And the list goes on and on. Economic struggle is a big part of this, too. Some people call this the sixth mass extinction. What makes it different than all the other five is that this one is created by us, all of us, humans. The source of it is greed, consumerism. And you might say, well, not me. But we're all part of it. We all have a responsibility in it. And so it's a really interesting time, actually. I think the saddest piece for me is how divided we are as a country, when what we need more than anything is to be united and protect our land and our people. And so it's very symbolic of the divided as within, so without, as a spiritual principle. I believe that at the core of all crises, whether it's personal or collective, whether it's family or country, whether it's any kind of community, is that a spiritual crisis is always an opportunity to grow. I don't know if you've ever gone through the ending of a relationship or the diagnoses of an illness, or the loss of income, the loss of a home. All those are crises that when we're on a spiritual path, and I think for everyone, but especially when we're on a spiritual path, is just an incredible opportunity to grow. So after the grieving and the struggling and the anxiety, we have to get to a place of saying, now what? From this spiritual foundation. And that's where we navigate our ways through the new normal in ways that allow us to thrive and to serve and to be creative. I've experienced this in the last few weeks as a real reflection time about that, because I too went into crisis and survival mode. And now I'm realizing that it's time to shift the mode and to thrive and to recreate, reinvent, to renew, not just for myself, but for all of us as a spiritual community. So the question to you who are watching is, what does that mean to your spiritual community, whether it's Center for Spiritual Living Morristown or any other community? Because we want to make sure that our foundation is a foundation of the science of mind teaching. Because it's the teaching that brought us here, that brought us together. It's the teaching that's inspiring us. It's the teaching that's our living lab where we get to figure out, how do we grow? But in this case, how do we grow together as a community? How do we grow now that everything is different? I love what Ernest Holmes says. He says, find 1,000 people who know the truth, who know the principles, and use them, and the world will no longer be famished. How important it is that each one of us, in our own simple way, shall live from God to God, with God, in God, and to each other. That's why we're here. And we are taking back with us, I trust, a vision and an inspiration, something beyond a hope and a longing, that the living Spirit shall through us walk anew into its own creation, and a new glory come with a new dawn. So we're not 1,000 people community, but there are many thousand people communities. We're a smaller community, but it doesn't matter, because where 2 or more are gathered in God's name, there is the presence. And so even if we're a community of 10, 20, 30, 80, 100, we can reimagine ourselves, and we can be a part of creating a healthy community. So what does that look like for us? We don't really know yet, and we're going to have some Zoom meetings with our members and active friends soon, and I'll tell you about that in a moment. But what I do know is that we must bring our very best. We must bring the principles as they are alive uniquely in each and every one of us. We must bring an open heart. We must bring love and compassion to the table. We must be in a place that is not just about self-serving, but it's about serving a greater idea, whatever that idea is. We're called to put into practice what we already know, and each of us in our own unique way. And so what that means is that we do have to heal what is dividing us. And I know for sure that the division we see in the world is simply, when we look at principle, a division that's existing in humanity. It's the division that's existing in me, between my mind and my heart, or my mind and my spirit, or me and you, or me and my life, or me and my community. That when we see division in the world, we can never say, oh, it's not about me. Yes, it is. If you are part of a community, and you are because you're alive, then there is a division happening in you that may very well be unconscious, that wants to be healed. So that's the work that we get to do. If you and I think we're all alone in the world of 7.8 billion people, that needs to be healed, because that's simply not true. You are never alone. You always have a tribe. You always have a community. And if you believe that you don't, then that belief needs to be healed. We can always call someone. I love how Laurie mentioned her sponsees in her poem, where she sponsors people and supports them. That's her community. I understand what it's like to feel alone, but I know it's never the truth. We have to look at hate inside ourselves. If we witness hate out there, then there's still hate inside of us. Maybe hate of the body. Maybe hate of something you've done in the past. Maybe hate around a regret. But just think, how often do you say, oh, I hate lima beans? Hey, I know it's funny, but it's a hate. So it's really looking inside and say, if I feel hate at any level, even if it's a little crumb of sand on the beach, then I have an opportunity to do something with that, because that's where my responsibility comes in. What about when we think we're other? Well, I'm not them. I'm not doing that. Just think politically how much we're doing that. They're the bad guys and they're the good guys and he's the bad guy. All that is division that we're experiencing inside of us, so it can be healed. And I don't know what that looks like for you. I know what it looks like for me, but it means that we have to look. We have to notice, we have to own it, and we have to do something with it so that we can come back into the oneness of all life. Maybe you think you're different. And in a way, yes, because we're all different. We're all unique, individualized expressions of the one, but underneath that lies the oneness of all life, the spirit that connects us all. So Nona Brooks, who was the founder of Divine Science, says this: since unity is the basic principle of universal expression, let us base our living, our thinking, and our doing upon this law. When we live true to basis, the hard experiences of the external pass away, and our days grow restful, free, and full of joy. That which we experience in the spirit of unity cannot limit us. We are a resilient lot, us humans. Look how far we've come, how long we've been around. We are a resilient lot, Centers for Spiritual Living Morristown members and friends. You are so much more resilient than you think you are. That is your spiritual foundation. And this community is resilient and shall rise again in its next new iteration, which is more beautiful because we bring ourselves to it. So we asked a question: who do we want to be together? We have to decide. Each of us have to decide, and then each of us has to live that. I've been reading this book by Andrew Harvey and Carolyn Baker, and it's a tough one. Savage Grace. It's not an easy book to read, but it says this about resilience. To be resilient means to be able to spring back into shape after being deformed. To be emotionally resilient means to be able to spring back emotionally after suffering through difficult and stressful times in one's life. Stressed people experience a flood of powerful negative emotions, which may include anger, anxiety, and depression. Some people remain trapped in these negative emotions long after the stressful events that have caused them have passed. Emotionally resilient people, on the other hand, are quickly able to bounce back to their normal emotional state. You are resilient, more resilient than you think. If you forget, when you forget, know you are not alone and there are people to support you. The ones I know of the best are practitioners in Centers for Spiritual Living, our center and many others. Me. So it's knowing then that we can bounce back with the support that we need. So let us be the people who bounce back. Let us be the community that bounces back. Let us be the community that reinvents itself and thrives regardless of what's going on in the world. With so much talent in our community, I'm so excited. We can do this. We got this. But I know that we have to pay attention to the call. We are called to rise up. We are called to be the healing presence in the world. We are called to no longer be so focused on our ego and our personal selfish needs. We are here to do something bigger and greater, if not for us, for our children and grandchildren. We are here to be of service in greater yet greater ways. And with the foundation of this beautiful teaching, the Science of Mind, anything and everything is possible. So now we have Garry again with some music, and then I have a few things to say, but before that, Laurie will close us with a spiritual mind treatment. And a beautiful applause spread all over the land. Thank you, Garry. It's wonderful to have you with us.
So wonderful to be here.
And thank you, Laurie, for being with us today and sharing your wisdom. And I want to thank Michael Malik, because he's sitting back there helping us out with some IT stuff, which is great. I want you to know, before we do the treatment, I want you to know that you can expect an email if you're a member of our center or an active friend. We're going to have some Zoom town hall meetings starting next Sunday, so there'll be no social hour. Those of you who are not getting our emails, but you'd like to, just let us know. We're at office@cslmorristown.org, or just go to the website and subscribe. But if you are getting our emails, you know what's going on. I'm doing the Art of Living every Wednesday night from 7 to 8:30. It's just an opportunity to be together and do spiritual practices and learn some things together. And I also want you to know that we have Sunday Social Hour, which will happen today after celebration if you've received a Zoom link. So if you want to receive the Zoom link next week we won't have Social Hour, but for the other meetings, let us know. And now we close with a kick booty, can I say that online? Treatment by Laurie Carlson, and have a very blessed week, everyone.
Hi. Now, we all know this. I have something written, but I'm going to ad-lib. So right here, right now, I acknowledge the one divine creator, the source of all things, the source of love and energy and all that exists in this universe. I know that this power is all good and is everywhere in everything all the time. This power, this divine energy is in each of us, as we are unique manifestations of this power, and we are all here to remember that and to best express that love on this planet, in this plane. And so knowing this, trusting this, believing this, I embrace this teaching today. I embrace each of us in our uniqueness and in our oneness. We are all more the same than we are different, and we know this, and we know that we are all God within. And so I see the God and the good in others, and I enjoy this, and I express this, and I channel this love in every interaction, in every meeting I have with others, in every opportunity in my day. I know that all is good and all is well. And even with the challenges that we face in this world today, I know that love is the answer. And so I project that love outward at every opportunity, in every way, knowing that the solution lies in love. And so, with knowing this, with a grateful heart for this teaching, which keeps me centered in my heart and allows me to see the positive and the opportunity and the possibility of growth in all conditions, for this beautiful center from which is my spiritual home, and which I know is approaching change, but approaching with grace. And I know that we will all come together to be a better manifestation of our purpose in the world. And so knowing this, with trusting this, believing this, and knowing all the many blessings that we have, with gratitude and grace for God, for love, for each other, for this center, for this teaching, and for being here today and the opportunity to share this with you, I am overflowing with this joy and this gratitude and this grace. And it flows out for me into everything I do. And so knowing this, trusting that my faith and my belief give power to these words, and knowing that as I think it, speak it, and do truly believe, so it must be, I release these words into the law, and it is already done. And so it is. Blessings, everyone.
How deep is the sky? How high is the sea? Nobody knows. How green is the moon? How bright is the tree? Nobody knows. All these big little questions, no one knows what to say. Trying to make some connections, but our foolishness gets in the way. How old is the day? How new is the earth? Nobody knows. Where do we hide from death to rebirth? Nobody knows. All these big little questions, never get at the truth. And the wisdom of ages tell us more than the wisdom of youth. Round and round we spin our theories, wanting to believe. Every answer brings more theories, leaving us just as naive. How long won't it last? How far won't it go? Nobody knows. How soon will we learn how little we know? Nobody knows. Shooting for the moon, reaching for the stars, asking all these questions that are yours and mine and ours, when nobody knows.